where he was replacing a guy who had a hospital wing named after him, playing the exact same position. So the expectations, even Irsay, this guy here is going to be the reason I get more of these, pointing to his finger, Super Bowl rings.
Okay, so he was the next Elway replacing Peyton Manning.
That's an awful lot.
By the way, I got to point this out just for the record. The day that Jim Irsay pushed Peyton out the back door, because I thought they kind of gave air kisses to each other, you know, I said on TV, and I wrote this on ESPN.com, this will be the worst decision of Jim Irsay's ownership career. He'll look back on this one and regret this more than... So Peyton Manning then goes on to Denver. Should have won 2 MVPs. Adrian Peterson won 1. It was very close, but he did win the next one. And he got them to 2 Super Bowls, and they did win 1. Andrew Luck, to date, is 4-4 in the postseason. He has 12 touchdowns to 13 interceptions in the postseason. And he is second most in interceptions over his time in the league in the postseason, and his 15 turnovers are tied for first in all of his years in the playoffs. And he's tied with Tom Brady for turnovers, but Tom Brady has played 18 games to Andrew Luck's 8 games. So I don't think that's any dishonor to Tom Brady exactly. So the point is, if you look at his playoff record, he lost to Ray Lewis and company the first game. That was fine. Then came the classic game. It was vintage. It's sort of like the Tony Romo game I talk about against Peyton Manning. But remember the game at home against Alex Smith and company from Kansas City? So Andrew Luck throws 3 interceptions that put them in a deep hole. And then he throws 4 touchdown passes as Kansas City was decimated by injuries to dig them out of the hole, and they win 45-44. So it's the best and the worst of Andrew Luck. And then he had 1 disaster against New England in a divisional round game. Then I thought he played his best playoff game at Denver when he beat Peyton. Remember that game? He did throw 2 picks in that game, but he also threw 2 touchdown passes, and they won that game 24-13. Then came the farthest he ever went in the playoffs, Andrew Luck. He got to the AFC Championship game at New England, and Luck's performance got overshadowed by Deflategate. Because you lose sight of the fact he was 12 of 33 for 126 yards, a QBR of 33.
Oh, he registered?
Yeah. And he threw 2 interceptions in that game. It was just a debacle. It was 45-7, and Brady got even better in the second half than he was in the first with, quote-unquote, legally inflated footballs.
But, Skip, as an athlete, the mind is the most powerful thing you have. And he's saying, if I can deduce from what he's saying, he's like, guys, I'm going to be average this year. If I'm able to come back this year. I don't want to be that. I'm Andrew Luck. Skip, there is expectations. And once you reach a certain level, anything below that level is unacceptable to you.
Okay, but what level did he really reach? People talk about him like he's top 5, and he's not. He was never top 5.
I believe that we didn't see him reach his full potential because of injuries. Because you look at him as a rookie, yes, Skip, he turned the ball over. But a lot of rookies, most rookies, especially when you take them out of the box and say, just go play. Peyton Manning turned the ball over a bunch. Andrew Luck, guys like that. Now,
Peyton cleaned it up quickly.
Yes. But when you have Ben Roethlisberger, now he started as a rookie the second game of the season.
Different.
But, they ran the football more. They played tremendous defense.
He was more of a game manager.
But Andrew Luck, I believe Andrew Luck, the ascension, because especially what we saw last year, 39 touchdowns. He had thrown 30, I think he threw 40 a couple of years ago when he led the league in touchdown passes. Skip, I believe you're going to see a gradual, a steady progression where he was going to be the guy that everybody thought he was going to be. And injuries robbed us of a fair chance to see that. And it happens.
You blame it on the lack of offensive line in his first 3 years. I blame it in part on Andrew, his makeup. He's going to run through that brick wall for his football team. I'm going to hold this ball. I'm going to hold it. I'm going to see. He became the flip side of Tom Brady. Brady frustrates you because it's just. Remember Joey Bosa in the playoff game? Remember he was mic'd up. He says, "God, you get rid of the ball so fast. He just he's worn out. But he rushes, and the ball's gone. Okay, that's the flip side of what this guy was, especially in the first 3 years.
Something that Andrew Luck had to deal with every game, with the exception of probably last year, that's something Tom Brady has never had to worry about. Tom Brady never has to worry about his defense giving up 30 points in a game because that's few and far between. So when you have to play hero ball, you know, Skip, every possession, because the likelihood of your defense stopping the opposing team's offense and giving you short fields or giving you an opportunity to do things great with the football is few and far between. So you take unnecessary risk with the ball, be it throwing it down the field or feel, I really need to get this first down and try to run through a linebacker. Skip, you saw that punishment that he took in 2015 against the Broncos. I don't know if I've ever seen a quarterback, I know in my years, I've never seen a quarterback take that
Talking
kind of...
about the playoff game?
No, it was a regular season game.
I got it.
That he
I
ended
agree.
He ended up missing what? He lacerated kidney, ruptured his stomach, and so many, and he finished the game and he won the game. And that was the beginning of the end because the body was really not made to withstand that kind of punishment. But the thing that I took most from his press conference, he said, Skip, over the last 4 years, what I've had to deal with has robbed me of the joy. And when you hear everybody say, when they talk about playing sports, they say, we play the kid game. We love this game. It's so fun, it's so much enjoyment. Can you imagine? Oh, man, another day of rehab. Oh, my God.
Okay, I also think part of robbing of joy was because he couldn't quite or even really come close to live up to being the next Elway or the next Peyton Manning. And it was wearing on him because here it came. Remember, they were coming into this football season that they're certainly the favorite to win their division.
Yes.
Some people have made the case that they could unseat New England in the AFC. They were a pretty hot pick. They were almost becoming a trendy pick until Saturday evening.
Well, Skip, even though I don't disagree with Mr. Irsay for moving on from Peyton Manning, given that there's only, 5-10% chance that he was going to ever come back and throw the football again, you have an opportunity. You're going to have Andrew Luck. You're thinking if things go well, you got Andrew Luck for another 15 years. You have Andrew Luck for 15, or you get Peyton for, 3 to 4, maybe 5 years. That's pushing it. So I believe he made the right decision. But Skip, Peyton, not living up to Peyton Manning, the dude has 5 regular seasons MVPs. He went to 4. He went to 4 Super Bowls with 4 different head coaches in 2 different locations. If you don't live up to that, Skip, that's nothing to sneak. That's like he had a trophy.
Okay, but if you have the ultimate bird in hand, maybe Brady's the ultimate, but you have one of the greatest ever birds in hand, you have Peyton Manning, and your doctors are saying, man, I don't know.
Right.
Because remember, at that point, he couldn't throw a ball 5 yards.
5.
Tricep failure from his neck injury.
Correct.
And it wasn't generating into his tricep anymore. So the point is, his doctors were telling Irsay and the Colts, no, he's going to come out of this. It's just going to take an offseason for him to come out.
And that was the thing, though, Skip. What did you expect his doctors to say? Those were his doctors. But what did the Colts doctor say? No. And they had to err on the side, Skip. Plus, he was going to be due, what, $27, $28 million.
Okay.
That's a lot of money.
Would he have been worth it? Yes. We
know that now. It's easy to say now that we saw him come back. He doesn't come back. Was he worth it? Because you tell me all the time, you pay a guy for what he's going to do, not for what he's already done. So he had already won 4 MVPs. He had already taken the 2 Super Bowls. But we can't pay you for that, Peyton. We got to pay you for moving forward. The team
I said at the time, I'm not going to bet against Peyton Manning.
Oh, yeah.
I put myself out there, and I just said, nope, I'm not going to. This is the worst decision you will ever make, Jim Irsay.
But I can't fault him for that. Given what we had seen, because Skip, we hadn't seen anybody come back from anything like this before.
Okay, I hadn't seen enough of Andrew Luck to say, yes, that guy is going to be beyond John Elway or maybe beyond Peyton Manning. I hadn't seen enough.
You're talking about some Pantheon greats.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's the choice that you made. You said, I'm going forward with this guy.
Yes. Well, I believe, Skip, it was a no-brainer. The guy had spent 4 years in college. He had graduated. And normally the guys that spend the extra time in college, those are the guys that do really well come NFL time. So I got no problem with the pick. I got no problem with Mr. Irsay moving on, given the sort of circumstances that he was dealing with Peyton Manning. But if you measure Andrew Luck's career, if you put it up against Peyton Manning or if you put it up against John Elway, you're going to say he's an abstract failure. Absolutely. But that's not fair. But if you look at what he's been able to do in his first 7 years of the league, Skip, it's hard to say someone had a... Now, Tom Brady is an outlier. You have guys that win Super Bowl, but Tom wasn't asked to do what Andrew Luck has been asked to do. And a lot of quarterbacks weren't asked to do.
I don't know. I think he was asked to do it. He just did it in very different ways.
No.
You got to make all the plays.
Skip, Tom was a game manager.
Stop it.
So Tom was never a game manager.
Stop it.
So
Stop it. That's so offensive.
Hold on.
That's like the most offensive thing you've ever said.
I just want to make sure.
Tom Brady can throw parties when necessary.
No,
you are so wrong about that. That was the most disrespectful thing that's ever come out of your mouth on this show. Seriously.
So Tom Brady.
You just called Tom Brady a game manager? What are you?
Are you gonna let me finish?
About?
Are you gonna let me finish?
My God,
are you
gonna let me game manage the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl about 6 times?
Skip, I'm asking you a simple question. The guy threw his second year, he threw 1 touchdown the entire playoff.
The first year, I'll give you that, but after that, he took it over.
Skip,
you see him against Carolina in the second Super Bowl? Go look at the numbers.
Skip, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying Tom Brady started as a game manager.
Okay, but you said he's been a game manager.
No, I did not. I said he started as a game manager. Andrew Luck, they took him out the box and said, we need you to be franchised from day one. That's not what Tom
was. Whatever he wanted to be, whatever he needed to be.
Okay,
go back and look at the tapes at Stanford. Go back and look at Stanford USC and tell me what you saw in that game. I just see what I'm going on.
I know what I saw. I saw a guy that the USC had way more talent than Stanford had, and Andrew Luck beat him twice.
I'm not sure it was way more at that point.
Skip.
They had a lot of players on that. That program that produces a lot of pro football players.
They do, but they weren't producing then like USC. Skip, I'm not saying Tom Brady's a game manager now, although he did manage the game in the Super Bowl. I'm saying early in his career, because Skip, if he should have beat Drew Bledsoe out, couldn't he? Why didn't he do that? And then the next year, he didn't beat him out because he got Drew Bledsoe. He got to start because Bledsoe was hurt.
6th-round draft.
And he managed, that's my point, Skip. He managed the game. There were different expectations of Brady than Luck.
He didn't manage the first Super Bowl that he won in the fourth quarter. John Madden's up in the booth saying, boy, they should shut this down and play for overtime. And he goes, completion.
Skip,
5 to set up the field goal.
You can't take a situation where he takes a final drive and say he's been throwing the ball up and down the field. That's not what he had been doing.
They did have the guts to put the ball in his hands as a second-year player, first-year starter in the Super Bowl.
Why didn't they put it? Let me ask you a question. Why didn't they put it in his hands in the first, second, and third quarter then?
Well, they were like a 19-point underdog.
But he's that guy. If he's that guy, you let him do what he does.
Well, you don't want to try to fight. You're up against what a lot of people thought was the greatest offense in the history of
that was Tom Brady.
Football.
You see what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying, Skip. I'm not trying to diminish the man. I'm just saying what Tom Brady started out as and what he is now are two different things.
Yep.
You know that, I know that. But Andrew Luck did not have that luxury when you're the first overall draft pick.
There was a lot of pressure on him that went beyond the injuries. And last time we saw him, last playoff game he played, I made the mistake of betting on him because I lost a case to you because I took him at Kansas City and he threw for 203 with a QBR of 20 on a scale of 0 to 100.
You lost to the Texans too because I took Andrew Luck in the Colts against the Texans.
We need more time to talk about Andrew Luck. We will go back to him. We'll talk about the fans' reaction to this, but we have to move on because another preseason game and another good performance from Skip's Cowboys. We will talk about Dak next. Don't forget, you can check us out every day on the Fox Sports Channel on SiriusXM. We'll be right back.